backtrack. And you should have kept my name out your mouth. Ask me though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for a clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday? It is September 9th at 10:34 a.m. Eastern time. So I thought this was breaking like minutes ago, but apparently this was breaking like 12 hours ago. Nevertheless, we're still going to talk about it because I have found something. I'm not going to say like no one is talking about it, but like I haven't seen any other articles mentioning this, but I do anticipate there may be some questions concerning it coming up soon. And this is, of course, about, as you could probably tell by the title, the thumbnail, etc. A singer. I'm going to call him David, but it's like the letter D4vd. I'll just read the headline. Singer David's Tesla found in LA impounded lot with putrid plastic wrapped body inside. Okay, this is the New York Post. I'm just going to read this one. I have a few videos to show y'all, and then I want to show you something else that I like dug up that's not in the news that I saw. It might be in the news. Somebody might have already mentioned it. I mean, probably somebody will. It's very obvious, but let's just go in order. And I may end up actually taking, this is a live, but I may end up taking it and making it into a, like a shorter edited video. So if you end up seeing this again, oh, that's why, because it's kind of like something I think I found that's, worth highlighting, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So, a putrid, this is what the article says, a putrid decomposing body has been found dumped in a Tesla reportedly registered to popular New York-born singer David, several days after it was abandoned and taken to a Los Angeles tow yard. Okay, so we do have some interesting details just right here in the first paragraph. First of all, it says New York-born singer, but the Tesla itself is registered in Texas. So I don't know what the Texas connection is. If anything, I didn't check the registration myself. I'm just telling you what I've read, and we will read it, I'm sure, and hear it together as we get through the video. But it says here in this New York Post article, this was published today, less than an hour ago, or excuse me, updated less than an hour ago, 9:59 a.m. Right now it's 10:37 a.m. But it says that he was born in New York-born singer. And where is the Tesla? Well, the Tesla, it was at a Los Angeles tow yard. Now, this doesn't mean he had anything to do with this. In fact, he seems to have somewhat of an alibi because he's been on tour. He's on tour right now. At first, when I heard that they found some type of body, I was like, well, I hope, it isn't him in his own trunk or whatever. So that didn't end up being the case. He apparently is alive and well, or at least alive. And, where'd that go? And, oh, shoot, something glitched. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Is it still showing? Okay. I don't know why it went all the way to the back and then it was behind all these windows. Okay. So he's on tour. The car is registered apparently in Texas. He's born in New York. He has a tour date tonight in Minneapolis. The body apparently was found yesterday, like last night, in Los Angeles in the car. Now, immediately I have questions. Okay. I want to get through the news first, but the fact that there was a body in that trunk for that long seems to maybe defy protocol, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Well, obviously it defies more than protocol, but I'm just saying the fact that there was something like that could be in the trunk seems to indicate that protocol wasn't followed, but I'll let y'all be the judge of that when we get to it. Let's just read first the actual news that is coming out of the news. Okay. Well, this is New York Post. You take with a grain of salt if that's news or not, but So they found this body. It was in a Tesla, Los Angeles tow yard. So the car had been impounded previously or stored. It may be end up being the case. Police made the grim discovery at the impound lot in Hollywood on Monday. That's yesterday afternoon, after workers reported a quote foul odor coming from the electric vehicle. Okay, so here's a picture. We get a picture. And I don't know which one of these is a Tesla. Kind of blurry. Is it this? Is it? Oh, it must be. This is the Tesla. I can't tell. It's kind of blurry. But look, you see right here, they got the tent. They got these 3 officers. They got the 22 car. The Tesla was discovered in a tow yard in LA. This is the Tesla right here, apparently. The 2023 Tesla is registered to David Anthony Burke. The 20-year-old, so he's very young, 20 years old. 20-year-old Queens-born romantic homicide artist known as David. The identity of the victim wasn't immediately known. The human remains were found stashed inside a bag in the Tesla's front trunk. Okay, so this is in the front trunk of the Tesla. That's what's being reported by New York Post. The car, which bears Texas license plates, had been towed to the lot after being reported abandoned in Hollywood Hills about 5 days ago, according to investigators. Okay, here's an interesting little piece. The car was reported abandoned in Hollywood Hills, but he's on tour. Is it his car that he drives around, or is it for some reason just registered to his name for some reason? We don't know any of these details yet. They haven't been released to the public. This is a developing story. Texas license plates, it's reported abandoned in the Hollywood Hills, and we're going to read the little police instructions procedures on what to do with an abandoned car, okay? But it was about 5 days ago it was reported abandoned. So then when it's reported abandoned, the police end up having it towed, and it gets towed to this lot. And all the while it's getting towed, there's apparently a dead body in the front trunk. But listen, we don't know that for sure. Could it have been the front trunk was completely empty whenever it was towed to this lot, and it's been sitting there 5 days? Who knows who had a key to open the trunk? You know, Teslas run on apps. You could unlock a Tesla from an app. Okay, so I wonder who reported. No one reported it stolen. They reported it abandoned. It was just sitting in the middle of somewhere. Usually this would be like if there's a car on the side of the car breaks down on the side of the road, you know, you got a so many time to get it towed, to come back and fix it, whatever, and then it's going to eventually get taken away. That's like an abandoned vehicle. Shout out to Garden State Accountability. Very interesting. So as we read the different articles, we will be able to piece together a few more public details. But this is what we're getting so far. 5 days ago, somebody reports it abandoned. It gets, taken to this lot. And then, 4 or 5 days later, they find a decomposing body in the front trunk. Now, that's all we know. We don't know when the body got put there, who put the body there, or any of that so far from what we've read today in this video. In that time, David has been sharing routine posts with his 2 million followers on Instagram. He's currently in the middle of a world tour. He has a show in Minneapolis scheduled for tonight, with a Los Angeles stop slated for later this month. Now, one thing that I notice in the web, when they're trying to take control over an artist, they will miraculously, it'll just so happen to be that the artist has basically a mental breakdown right as they're getting to the Los Angeles stop of the tour. Now, this could be, I don't know, take your guess. I don't really know what the reason would be. Maybe just to take control of the artist's career, maybe to get them in their special hospitals that they like over there at Cedars-Sinai or UCLA. Maybe it is, who knows? Girl, I mean, I really don't know. But the San Pablo or whatever tour with Kanye. It was like he had a stop in LA, and then he did the Beyonce, some whatever, Jay-Z, whatever from the show. Next thing you know, he's traveling to go try to get Donald Trump to help him with Corey Gamble and getting locked up against his will. Then that happened with Selena Gomez. She was just too exhausted. She was too exhausted. And I'm not downplaying how exhausted she must have been, but it's like kind of like, I don't know. Is it an insurance thing? Is it a take control of I don't know. It's just patterns. I can't help myself but notice patterns. And it could just be coincidence. Who knows? But he's going to be stopping on his world tour in LA later this month, September, I guess. He's best known for tracks Here With Me and Romantic Homicide. He has billions of streams on Spotify. Okay, slay. He released his second album, Withered, this year. Reps for him haven't commented yet on the probe. Here's another article, just going to switch right on through to the next one, fox8.com. This one was from today, 10:02 a.m., so less than 45 minutes ago, this one came out. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. This one, fox8.com. The title is Human Remains Discovered in Trunk of Tesla Impounded at Hollywood Tow Yard. An investigation is underway after decomposing human remains were found in a bag inside the trunk of a Tesla parked in a Hollywood tow yard. Detectives with the LAPD responded to Hollywood Tow around 12:20 p.m., so yesterday afternoon, after employees of the tow yard reported a foul odor coming from the vehicle, which was parked on the roof of one of the yard's parking structures. Okay, so it was on a second floor parking structure of a parking structure there. LAPD said the car, which has Texas license plates, was towed from the Hollywood Hills after it was reported abandoned about 5 days ago. So we're getting two different sources are saying that. I'd say that's pretty horrifying. Anton Mikel told KTLE. I don't know who that is. Who is Anton Mikel? Quote, nobody wants that. I mean, we live here, so that's kind of gross. Quote, the Hollywood resident was at the tow yard Monday afternoon to retrieve his own vehicle when he noticed the police presence. Okay, so that's who that is. Quote, it seemed like there was a lot of people gathering around asking questions, but I didn't know until just now. Wow, that's crazy. Aerial footage of the scene was captured by Sky 5. It showed a portion of the yard that had been cordoned off with yellow crime scene tape as investigators huddled around the front of the Tesla, where the front trunk would be located, where the body was. A police photographer could be seen gathering photographic evidence of what was inside the trunk. A white canopy was set up toward the rear of the vehicle, which we did see a picture of that, presumably for when police pull the body out of the trunk. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office also responded to the scene, though authorities said that because of decomposition, the gender of the person is unknown. Okay, that's another new clue right there, or another new piece of information that gives context to like how long, or how far along the decomposition or whatever is, which could give some indication into how long that person or that body was in there. However, it is hot over there in LA. Okay. It's still the summertime. So that means the decomposition could happen faster. So we really don't know. I mean, even if they knew, I certainly wouldn't know because I'm not an expert. But the level of decomposition was such that the gender of the person cannot be determined at just, glance. Okay, another Hollywood resident said, quote, it's not really a surprise. We live in a very big city, one of the biggest on earth, and there are shady people doing shady things. Okay, that sounds like both of these residents sound planted. I don't. The detectives aren't saying much. The likely focus of the investigation is using the license plate to identify the vehicle's owner, as well as attempting to identify the deceased. Okay, so just a little while after that, this article came out where they did find out who owned it. Okay, and this was well, I guess maybe, I don't know. I have it in that order. I don't know. Maybe when they update the article, it makes it look like that's the time it was originally written, because I think that other one was first before this one. But anyway, because like at the end of this one, look, Detectives aren't saying much. The likely focus is using the license plate to identify the vehicle's owner, as well as attempting to identify the deceased. Well, they found the owner apparently is this David. Now, I didn't check the registration, okay? I'm just reading headlines. I'm not involved in this investigation. So, if this turns out to not be the case, please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just showing you exactly what I'm reading here. This is abc7.com. Now, we will read the article, but this is an interesting video, and I do want y'all to hear what the news is saying. She needs to move that pen over. It's too far in the middle. LAPD finds body inside impounded Tesla that's registered to singer David. Hollywood. The Los Angeles Police Department is investigating the gruesome discovery of a body inside an impounded Tesla at a tow yard in Hollywood. And Eyewitness News has learned the vehicle is registered to singer D4vd David. Officers responded shortly before 12:30 p.m. Monday to the report of a foul odor coming from an impounded vehicle, according to LAPD. Police say the impounded car had been at the property for a couple of days, and that the body had been placed inside a bag. There's no immediate information about the identity of the person found inside the Tesla. David is scheduled to perform tonight as part of his world tour, the Withered World Tour. The tour stops in LA on September 20th. They were found in the front trunk, registered in Hempstead, Texas. The video from Air 7 showed police yellow tape encircling the Tesla along with several parked vehicles in the impound lot with a white canopy set up nearby. Eyewitness News has reached out to David's representatives and are still waiting for a response. He's known for Here With Me. He released his debut album earlier this year. Okay, so let me play this video for y'all.
A body found inside an impounded car in Hollywood.
That's right. The LAPD says that car is registered to a known singer, known for his popular songs on TikTok. Eyewitness News reporter Ashley Mackey live in Hollywood with more on this investigation. Ashley.
Rachel, John, a very unsettling discovery here in Hollywood. Officers were initially responding to reports of a foul odor. That's when they discovered decomposing human remains in the trunk of a Tesla in this tow yard on Monday afternoon, just a little before 12:30.
Hold on.
LAPD
Someone's saying Rock Nation to the rescue. Y'all better. I just had the tingle. I'm like, I just now had that thought. Who's his man? Is he Rock Nation affiliated? Or are y'all just saying that? Let me check. He's not signed to Rock Nation. That's not true. Interscope. I don't know if Interscope's related. It's hard to keep up. That's Jimmy Iovine. I don't know about Interscope, honestly. Like off the top of my head. I know they're in the web and I have known, but I can't speak to it specifically right now. Okay, so let me let y'all finish. Let's finish this video. And then we're gonna move on to the next source.
Before 12:30, LAPD officers were dispatched to investigate the impounded vehicle. It was then that police discovered a body had been placed inside a bag inside the car. Police say the body and the car had been at the property for a couple of days. As of this morning, it's still not clear who the remains belong to, but Eyewitness News has learned that the Tesla is registered to a multi-platinum artist.
I don't want copyright.
Burke, known professionally as David, is the registered owner of the Tesla. The 20-year-old musician is known for songs that have gone viral on TikTok, like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. David is scheduled to perform in Minneapolis today as part of his Withered World
Why
Tour.
they put that on that video like that?
He will also stop in Los Angeles on September 20th. We've reached out to David's.
So, Ava, good question. And hold that question because we're gonna get to it pretty soon. Was the car impounded or not is actually going to turn out to be a very technical question. And it's not going to take that much explaining. But yeah, the way it's kind of like being reported on is like as if the car was impounded. But as we've discussed many times lately on this channel, the words that are used in a legal context, and of course, there's a dead body here, so it's going to be some legal stuff going on pretty soon, if not, definitely already. It matters which word. Remember the Emanuel Harrow? It's like, well, did the dad confess? Did he admit? Did he tell? Is confessing different than telling? This type of tedious, word games or word. No, it's not even games like necessarily, but words do have meaning. So impounded is going to turn out to be a little bit different than something else. And we will talk about that in a moment. So just hold on to that question. But yeah, I mean, for now, the way it's being reported on is as if the car was impounded. Okay. But when a car is impounded, it's because of it's specific things have to happen. Certain amendment rights and things kick in because it's going to possibly be used as evidence. But when a car is just simply picked up for being abandoned and there's no criminal activity necessarily suspected, then it's not impounded, it's stored. And these are legally different words. I just learned this today. I'm not an expert. I just read it, but we will read that together and you can make your own mind up on what, you think about it. But that's kind of the TLDR preview. And let's finish this video.
Representatives, but we are still waiting to hear back from them. Reporting live in Hollywood, Ashley Mackey, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay. So here is another ABC 7 type article from about 50 minutes, came out about 50 minutes after the one we just read. This one's from about an hour ago, September 9th, 2025, 9:52 a.m. Body found inside impounded Tesla, registered to singer David. LAPD says. So I'm going to let y'all watch this video too. It's only 39 seconds. But let's skim the article. A lot of this will be repeat, so I'm not going to read every word, but just to see if there's any new details. Investigating body, Tesla. Yeah. See, they're reporting from the sister station. I think that's the one that we just read. 12:30 Monday, foul odor, impounded. See, they're reporting it as if it was impounded, but as it turns out, I don't think that that's just a word you can just throw around willy-nilly. Again, I'll show you why I think that. It had been at the property for a couple days. The body had been placed inside a bag. No immediate information about the identity. Scheduled to perform in Minneapolis tonight, part of his world tour. Human remains were found in the front trunk. So this is basically a copy-paste article. Yeah. Okay, so let's see the video. It's just 39 seconds.
We have breaking news, a gruesome discovery in Hollywood. Chris Christie is live in Air 7.
Chris Christie, girl.
That's right, Giovanna. We're up over the Hollywood.
Oh, look at him. That's him. Oh, no, that's the police. Stop. I was like, girl, he's in there.
You see the yellow tape around there. They responded a couple of hours ago, actually about 12:20, after reports of an odor.
This must be from yesterday.
Tesla right there. Apparently, human remains have been discovered in the frunk of that Tesla, and now, as you mentioned, a death investigation is underway. Reporting live.
So they got a death investigation underway. Coco said,
Operation Midway Blitz.
Girl, I'm not asking about Operation Midway Blitz. Do not impose your autoplay on me. Anyway. Coco said, sounds like they're trying to keep him under control. Most labels have the artist stay at one of their rentals in the Hollywood Hills or in the Valley, huh? And where was our guy walking, tromping down the street? Studio. Where was he? Lil Nas X. What's wrong with saying front trunk? I know, frunk. In the frunk. No one, they need to stop trying to make frunk happen. I'm just saying. Okay. So I looked up. Okay, so I started asking to myself, right? I'm like, hold on. what if there had been some type of something real dangerous in that trunk? Or what if it had been like an alive? What if it had been somebody that was alive inside the trunk? Okay, like, hold on. Okay, first of all, just again, real quick disclaimer. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Okay, all we can do is speculate. But I'm going to speculate because I'm allowed to do that. So you hear something like that. First thing I think is, okay, let's there's a few different possible scenarios. Either that body was in the trunk already whenever the thing was towed to the place and someone just didn't check the trunk, or the body was not in the trunk when it was towed to the place and then someone put in, they checked that it was no body. And then they put in the, and then they put that somebody somehow put a body in the trunk. Now, how and why and all these questions, I don't know, but these are the two options. The body was in there already and towed there, or the body was not in there and then put in there after, because it was days and days went by. And I don't know what LAPD is doing with evidence and stuff, just generally. Okay. So there was another video I wanted y'all to watch actually before I got into that part. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, okay, yes, there's one more video I wanted to show y'all. Let me pull it up. It's 2 minutes, 12 seconds.
It went into a body found at a tow yard. Workers there making this gruesome. Near 10, an urgent investigation underway in Hollywood into a body found at a tow yard. Workers there making this gruesome discovery this afternoon inside a car they had towed. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf outside the tow yard after speaking exclusively with a worker there.
So he talked to a worker.
Yeah, that worker can't believe it. His coworkers made that gruesome discovery on the second floor of this parking garage. Now, many wondering who would do this and why.
So you can see he's right out here at the parking garage. Okay. So he's calling it a parking garage, but this is, and you're going to hear it from the guy who works here, this is a police parking. It's not just a parking garage. This isn't just a parking garage. He's calling it that. I don't think it's nefarious. He's just like a news guy or whatever. But listen how this so-called parking garage is described as this 2 minute, 12-second video goes on.
Discovery on the second floor of this parking garage. Now, many wondering who would do this and why. An up-close look at the black Tesla where a body was found Monday stuffed in the car's trunk.
I don't know, it's pretty shocking, you know?
There's the Tesla.
LAPD's told you, so pretty
He
shocking.
said it's a tow yard. LAPD's tow yard. That's what he just said. Listen.
Monday stuffed in the car's trunk.
I don't know, it's pretty shocking, you know? So it's a tow yard, so LAPD's tow yard, so it's pretty shocking to me, though.
Victor's co-workers at Hollywood Tow made the gruesome discovery on the impound lot's second floor after noticing a strong smell coming from the car. Police then finding the victim's body wrapped in a bag like trash inside the Tesla's trunk. Do you remember this car or anything about it?
That's why I don't know. I was here this weekend, so I don't know. I know there's cars upstairs, a lot of them, so.
Fox 11 is learning the car was towed in from
Hollywood Hills. The alarm is going off. The car was towed in from Hollywood Hills last week. So they've got they got it out the trunk and now they're towing the car.
After someone reported it as abandoned.
This part of town doesn't surprise me that much, honestly.
People that live near the tow yard not very surprised.
It's sad. It's quite morbid, but apparently that kind of thing happens a lot here. So yeah.
If Hollywood isn't weird enough, then the weird place has got to be weird enough.
Okay, so this guy freaked me out a lot, y'all. It's like, I do understand you have to have a little bit of like just suck it up when you live in a big city and stuff, but like, y'all, this man is like, yeah, this is just normal, y'all. This is normal. Nothing's wrong with it. Like it's just too, I'm just not comfortable with the level of normalization, the level of casual, but look, I mean, he's just like, yeah, nothing's weird about this is normal.
The big, strange craziness of Hollywood Tow.
We get some big LAPD on scene refusing to answer any questions about the investigation. Well, information about the victim and possible suspects have not been released.
People do weird things, and we don't think it's too crazy around here when this happens. We don't
think it's too crazy. This is just, yeah, they got bodies in trunks in the police tow yard all the time. It's Hollywood, baby.
A black Tesla had Texas license plates, but Mike's giving us a look right here at the razor wire, very highly secured building. But again, tonight, a whole lot of questions remain about this case. We're live in Hollywood. Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
All right, Matthew, thank you so much.
Okay, just real quick, because I'm not letting these demonic clowns control anybody's narrative. Like, no, we got people in here saying this is no. Agree. Sierra, way too nonchalant. I don't think this is just a weird thing, simply said. Too casual about it, for real, said Two Frames Media. So no, we do not consent. This is weird. This is no. This isn't, no, we're not doing Welcome to Hollyweird. No, we're not. I rebuke. I do not consent. It's not normal. It's very strange. So Sheila, I lost her comment, but Sheila had said just a few minutes ago that if the car was just simply abandoned and it wasn't, taken in because it was like involved in a crime or something, Sheila said it may not have been searched. And that was what I was wondering. What is the protocol? Should this car have been at least at the very minimum inventory searched? Because on the one hand, it's like, is that an illegal search? Somebody didn't consent to having their car searched. Is unlawful search and seizure because somebody just parked their car somewhere, then the police get to search it. But then, because you want to be able to make it to where whenever like the police find a dead body in the person's car, that they can actually use that evidence. You don't want them to break some evidence rule or whatever. But then on the other hand, I could see how it could be very dangerous to community or whatever. If there's, it's kind of like when you're in an airport, right? You're in an airport and they're like, don't leave your bags anywhere. Don't, abandon your bags. Don't leave them anywhere. Stay with your bags. And if you see a bag by itself, alert someone. Why? Why do they do that? Well, because it could be dangerous. The bag could have something dangerous in it. Now, look, listen, I think we live in a nanny state. As far as the TSA is concerned, I think they do way too damn much in them airports. I'm not saying that it's a great thing that how far they go, but how do they justify, making us all like, oh God, a bag by itself, is because they say it's for safety. Okay, so multiply that times whatever could be in a car. How do we know that something's not going to detonate after 7 days on the 24th hour or in full moon or something? Wouldn't it be kind of like, let's just make sure there's not any dead bodies in the trunk before we put, what about live bodies? What if there was somebody in that trunk needed help? What if somebody was in there passed out? There's a lot of questions going through my mind of like, I could see the reason for kind of just giving a brief search. So I don't really know, right? And that's what led me to start to look. So here is, I don't know which one I want to start on. Okay, let's start here. Here is this is from the PARS Public LA. This is the LA Sheriffs. Okay. So this is not LAPD. All right. I don't know if LA Sheriff and LAPD, like share jurisdiction, but let's just, share rules and have the same rules, or if the LA Sheriff showed up, because what we keep getting cited from is LAPD, and they said that was LAPD's tow yard, but like, let's just start with the sheriff, because that was like the easiest to find. That's what I found first, and then I will look and see if the LAPD, at first I did look, I couldn't find it, and that's why I'm starting here. But if we can find it, we'll compare. If not, at least we'll have a reference point for how the sheriff's department does it. And who knows, maybe the sheriff's department did work with them on this. I really don't know. I have no reason to believe they did, though. I don't know if the sheriff puts cars in that same lot or anything like that either. But let's just read through this with all the disclaimers. This section is impounded and stored vehicles. Introduction. Deputies have the authority and responsibility to keep unlicensed drivers or drivers with suspended or revoked licenses off the road. Okay, so this is about whenever you impound somebody's car, like at a traffic stop. You got a warrant or whatever. You take the car gets put away, and then you get put away until further notice or whatever. You're driving without a license. You can't drive anymore. Car gets towed. You're driving drunk. Car gets towed. Where do they tow it? Well, they impound it. And, this is the sheriff's manual from LA Sheriff, on what they do. So The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, this is the Miranda, held that a seizure of a vehicle, even when authorized by state law, must be reasonable under the Fourth Amendment. That's the seizure, the search and seizure. Well, Fifth and Fourth is search and seizure. The California Vehicle Code, Section 14602.6A1, allows a police officer or a peace officer to impound a violator's vehicle for 30 days at the owner's expense if certain conditions are met. In other situations, the laws allow for an officer to temporarily store the vehicle at the owner's expense. These sections can be utilized to enforce driving laws. Public safety should always be the main goal, okay? Now, they do get into what is impound versus stored. Impound from public or private property. When a vehicle is being held for an investigation, like evidence, which I'm sure it is now, but before now, I don't think it was, an impound authority or hold would apply. The vehicle may only be released, so it's on hold. And the police are only going to give you back that car with the authorization of the impounding agency. Stored vehicles are those removed from public or private property. Stored vehicles do not have holds. A stored vehicle has no evidentiary value. When the vehicle is stored, the vehicle may be released at any time to the registered owner or the authorized agent with proper verbal or written designation. Okay, so that tells us the difference between what is impounded and what is stored. So what did the news articles tell us about him? Or I say him, but he's like on tour. Like, I don't think he's been driving this car. I don't really think he has very much to do with this at all. He's been on tour. So I'm saying him because like there's like a famous face associated, but I'm not in any way implying he has anything to do with this. Like famous people get their cars driven all the time. They have cars, businesses that owns cars and people drive them. You ever heard of a famous person driving themselves around? Usually not. Usually we have like a Jaquan type character, like somebody else. Jaquan, if you're wondering, was the driver in the infamous Night of the Meg Thee Stallion thing. But in this case, what we just read on the different, news articles was that somebody in Hollywood Hills called and reported this car abandoned and it got towed. But there was no crime committed. So that would count as sorry, I get so distracted when I look at y'all's comments. The stored vehicle, that would count as stored. Okay, so then here's the next section. This is a different page on stored vehicles. In an arrest situation, deputies have to advise the driver or owner prior to storing the vehicle. The vehicle may be secured, legally parked. Okay. The deputy should exercise care necessary to ensure that parking violation will not occur. Okay, a stored vehicle report shall be made if a vehicle is stored for the following reasons. Okay. A stored vehicle report on a CHP Form 180 shall be, that means must, it's not optional. It has to be made when a vehicle is stored for one of the following reasons. If the vehicle is apparently abandoned. Okay, well, that's what's being reported in the news. The vehicle is abandoned. Apparently abandoned. Someone called and reported it abandoned. We all follow? Put a 1 in the chat if you follow. The vehicle was apparently abandoned, according to the thing. Now, again, this is the sheriffs. I think Hollywood PD would have jurisdiction here, and we will try to find their policies and procedures. I couldn't find them when I looked first time, but we just going by sheriff. I imagine something similar either does happen or maybe should, because look what happens. A stored vehicle report on Form CHP 180 has to be made when a vehicle is stored for being apparently abandoned. Before any vehicle is stored, okay, here's your answer, according to the sheriff. Before any vehicle is stored, because it is apparently abandoned or otherwise, the stolen vehicle system must be queried, must be asked searched to determine whether or not the vehicle is stolen or wanted. So before we take your car into our pound lot, the sheriff said, we got to run you through the query system, the stolen vehicle system. And when out-of-state vehicles are stored, which in this particular case, if this was applied to the David car thing, it is an out-of-state vehicle with the Texas plates. The National Crime Information Center shall be checked. The deputy placing a vehicle in storage shall be responsible. So this is his or her responsibility for the following. The deputy that impounds the car, or that stores the car that is apparently abandoned or otherwise, has to do all these following things. Verify the ownership and indicate an indication if that's the only owner. Prepare an original CHP Form 180. What does this part say right here? Including inventory of any personal property and the contents of any closed containers within the vehicle. I'm assuming that would include a bag. Preparing an original and a copy of the Form 180. It's the same form from up here, CHP 180. So if it's a abandoned stolen vehicle and you're filling out your Form 180, you have to include inventory of everything in the car. So my instincts, I think, at least insofar as however the sheriffs are thinking, are correct. You can't just pull a car in and be like, oh, we're just going to put it here. No, you got to do certain things. Yeah, check, is it stolen? Check if there's anything in there that could hurt somebody. Make sure there's nothing in there that's in danger. No one in there that's in danger. They have to notify the station unit, assign a uniform report number, estimate the value of the vehicle. If the storage is in conjunction with another crime or incident, which it wasn't at the time. Okay, after entry in the stolen vehicle system, the station unit secretary shall indicate the file control number of the CHP 180 and distribute report as follows. So I want to see if the LAPD is supposed to be held to those same standards. And why do I want to see that? Because if the LAPD is supposed to also do the same type of thing as the sheriffs, like, check the stolen and inventory, the stolen vehicle system, check the car's inventory, including taking an inventory of what's in any closed containers in the car. It doesn't mean stealing them and taking them in for evidence. That doesn't mean taking them out of the car even, but just like open, look, make sure there's not a body in there. That's what the sheriff would do. Even if it was just being stored for being apparently abandoned, that is a very important point. Because, a lot of times it's like, well, if you're suspected of committing a crime, there's probable cause, then that allows them to be able to search. But if you haven't committed a crime, then they can't search. Well, maybe. But they do have the authority to balance in the public interest. And it's not in the public interest for dead bodies to be in cars on the roof in LA. I think we all agree. But I just keep thinking, and Coco City said LAPD is too easily paid off for stuff that's Hollywood division. They don't care unless they're told to care. And it's like, I keep thinking back to the Diddy trial when there were bullets that went missing. Excuse me. Not bullets. When there were fingerprints. They ran a fingerprint report on the break-in at Kid Cudi's house, but the fingerprint report went missing after just 1 year, and they're usually supposed to keep them for like years. I am looking up LAPD policies on stored vehicles. Okay, I found the California Vehicle Code. California Vehicle Code, Storage, Impound, Forfeiture Authorities. Okay. What is this? No, I don't think that's what we're looking for. LAPD, Hollywood. Oh, I want to show y'all Hollywood Tow. Okay, here's some type of thing from LAPD. This is Los Angeles Police Commission Board rules governing tow operations and tow operators. Oh, I think this is just for like who gets the contracts. Oh, no, these are rules. Okay, cool. Okay, good. Awesome. So I did get kind of what we're looking for a little bit. Properly interested persons are the legal owners, registered owners, lessees, persons having the lawful possession, having last lawful possession of the vehicle and who are in possession of the keys to the vehicle and have identification. Such people are presumed to be the properly interested persons. Okay, so in this case, I believe that would be David, but he might not be the sole owner. We don't know. Rule number 1, this is the LAPD Commission rules governing towing operations. Every tow operation shall display at the business location the permittee's name. Okay. Every permittee, employee, or agent shall maintain all towed and impounded vehicles in his care and custody within the confines of his storage facility and not upon the public streets, sidewalks, or public properties. So that would have had to been followed with this car. Anybody who removes a vehicle from private property without the knowledge or consent of the properly interested person, meaning the owner of the car, David, shall cause a written inventory to be made. So this is LAPD. Okay, breaking news. We are doing a live investigation right now. I'm not an expert. I'm just reading public documents. But y'all, it appears as though LAPD was supposed to remove, if they removed this vehicle without the knowledge or consent of David, they needed a written inventory to be made. Now, did David know they were towing this car? Did they call him up and say, hey, can we tow your car? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that still remain unanswered. Another thing that we don't know, which would need to be the case here, is was the vehicle removed from private property? Or was it removed from public property? A lot of times you don't even really know what's private or public without looking at a map. Sometimes it is obvious. But, I don't know if his vehicle was removed from private property. And I don't know if the vehicle was removed without his knowledge or consent. But if it was removed from private property, and if it was removed without his and any of the owner's knowledge or consent, then it was required that a written inventory be made describing the condition of the vehicle, damage to the vehicle. In the event that the vehicle has been opened by the employee or the agent, the inventory shall also include a complete listing of all property contained therein. A copy of the inventory shall be made available to the properly interested person. Now, that's another big if. There's a lot of ifs here. So just rule number 3 alone doesn't really tell us that the LAPD had an obligation by their own rules to search the inventory of the trunk. Rule number 4 says that if somebody impounds a vehicle from private property, they need authorization in writing from the property owner. So let's say it was on Lou Taylor's private property at her house. Let's just say Lou Taylor would have to say you can come on my private property to remove this vehicle. So again, I don't know if it was found. Let me actually write some questions down. I do have some questions. Number 1, was the vehicle removed from private property? Number 2, who called and reported the vehicle abandoned? Where was the vehicle exactly? So these are questions that I have just based on what we're reading here. Every person, authorization. Okay. Authority to make such impounds cannot be delegated to a tow operation. Prohibits tow operations from providing direct, indirect commission, gift, whatever, towing operation. Okay. Rule number 5, every permittee, employee, whatever, who removes a vehicle from private property without the properly interested person's knowledge has to cause the vehicle to be available for release during 4 hours. The fee charge, well, he's on tour, so he wasn't going to pick it up. Rule 6, properly tow a vehicle distance greater than 2.5. Every impounds a vehicle, private property. These are all these private property when notified as soon as possible. So they needed to notify him if after 120 hours from taking control of the vehicle, the properly interested person has not contacted. No. Rule number 8, impounding. Okay. Which has not been removed from the property and is not in transit to the tow yard. shall release the vehicle at the scene without a charge. A towing company, however, may impose a service charge. Copy of the board rules. So the only thing that I see in the, oh, these are old too. I wonder if these are still even in play, girl, because this, the last time this looked like it was updated in 1996. So I don't know if these rules are even still in play, but it looks like the only way with LAPD from that one document, and I'm going to keep looking for other ones, that it would come in play that they should have searched his trunk is if it was removed from private property and he didn't give permission and he didn't know, in that, you know, or the trunk was open for them. I don't know. Yeah, we need definition of private property. I mean, private property, I think, is like privately owned property, but yeah, you're right. They could go back and forth. Yeah, no, I mean, I think most importantly, I think firstly, why was there a dead body in the trunk? But there's like a lot more, there's a lot more questions we have to probably ask before that. Okay, look, let's see. This is something else. This is something cool. A lot of times these law offices put up cool stuff. What is this? Oh, no, this is an official website. Okay. Reporting stored and abandoned vehicles online. I'm just reading different things, live investigation. These are just different little resources to try to get to the bottom of what's supposed to be the normal thing that happens. And did that happen here? And what happened with this? The California Vehicle Code prohibits standing vehicle upon any city street, highway, or alley for 72 or more consecutive hours. California Vehicle Code 22669 authorizes towing of any vehicle that is inoperable or parked on city streets and is a public hazard. These laws are important parking regulations for controlling storage of vehicles on public streets, highways, and alleys. In some cases, vehicles impounded may turn out to be abandoned vehicles. A traffic officer cannot simply tow a vehicle because you file a storage complaint. The traffic officer must first inspect and observe the vehicle over a 72-hour period to determine that the vehicle has not been moved. After at least 72 hours have elapsed from the time of inspection and observation, the vehicle then may be impounded. Again, y'all, it's stored. It's not really impounded. The traffic officers will immediately tow any vehicle that lacks an engine, wheels, or some other part necessary. So that's the inoperable component. Complete the online stored and abandoned vehicle report form with all required information to locate the vehicle. Required information is indicated in the asterisk. Please do not send in multiple complaints on a single vehicle during the course of a week. Each complaint must be fully investigated. Multiple complaints may result in several traffic officers visiting the same vehicle. This reduces the number of vehicles the traffic officers will be able to observe and tow. Okay. So let me see if they've found any more information, like breaking news on the case. TMZ made one. They don't have it exclusive, though. Receiving a report of a foul odor. Human remains were found. The case is being treated as a death investigation. Remains were found in the bag of a trunk. TMZ confirmed with police the Tesla is registered in Hempstead, Texas. To David, he's set to take the stage tonight. Quickly emerged as a rising star. Millions of followers across the social media. We reached out to David. So far, no word back. Posted something on social media yesterday. Okay, so yeah, I don't think, yeah, it's like, it's not him. Got one from 51 minutes ago, Daily Mail. Hold on. Horror as dead bodies found inside trunk of singer David's impounded Tesla. A decomposing body was found inside the trunk of an impounded Tesla, reportedly registered to singer David. Officers with the Los Angeles Police Department made the grim discovery on Monday after receiving reports of a foul odor. Vehicle is registered to 20-year-old singer David Anthony Burke. Authorities in the city said the vehicle had been inside the lot for a few days and the body had been placed in a bag In the front trunk of the car, y'all, this is a mystery. There's the Tesla getting towed. Authorities in the city say the vehicle had been inside the lot for a few days. The body had been placed inside a bag in the front car. The footage captured by the outlet show police surrounding the car with a white tent set up nearby. It was also seen being towed out of the parking lot or the tow lot. The car, which reportedly has Texas plates, was abandoned in the Hollywood Hills 5 days ago. David is currently, look how they put this. They made it say dead instead of David. Is currently in the middle of a world tour with dates across Europe set for next month. His next show is Minneapolis Tonight. He's known for songs Withered is his tour, his debut album. No comment from his reps. That's something else I find to be interesting. They're currently treating the incident as a death investigation. So there y'all have it. I know, they should have said Frank. So there was something else that I wanted to tell y'all about too, y'all. There was a fatal fetish encounter, OF model accused in man's unaliving. I think there's actually a few cases with similar themes like that. But I think the girl is like on trial right now. So let's just talk about that while I have you.
Mr. Dale.
This is like, the video is kind of long, but I do want to show y'all like the first like minute or two, because I just thought that this was incredibly disturbing and just fits right in with like the things I've been trying to cover and report on. Like, this is a sinister underbelly of a world. It's just like weirder and weirder stuff. Look at the synopsis of this. This is from what is it, Court TV. Check it out over there if you want to watch the full video. This is just for commentary.
Asking Ms. Ryler's Dan to do certain things for him. He was asking her.
Sorry. Commentary, education, opinion, reaction, transformative, not a substitution for the original, and all of that. In the public interest, high public importance, and all of that. Okay. So also, y'all, it's about to get a little gruesome, a little gnarly on these descriptions, but this is an issue of public interest and public concern. Just giving you time to click out of here if you want to in the next 5 or so seconds and come back in just a little while, because this man is about to describe some sinister and disgusting things. This is public. This is court.
Mr. Dale asking Ms. Ryler's Dan to do certain things for him. He was asking her to buy boots.
Buy boots, glue them on his feet.
It was Gorilla Glue. He was asking her to buy and glue them in his mouth. And he also asked her to pour pools of Gorilla Glue into his eyes to glue them shut, so that she was the last girl that he would ever see.
This morning, our spotlight
The man wanted the girl to pour Gorilla Glue in his eyes so she would be the last thing he ever did see. Okay, now the man ended up dying. All right, he died. And this lady, she's on trial, the girl, the OF model. Now, her defense is that she was just doing fetish play.
shining on a case out of California involving an OnlyFans model.
I'm gonna speed it up. They slow.
She's now a defendant facing murder charges after allegedly asphyxiating a man by placing a plastic bag over his head during what prosecutors describe as a fatal fetish encounter. Here's what the victim's roommate said about the day of the incident.
I could just hear him say, "Can we stop? I'll pay you a certain amount more money to stop." And that's when I realized that it wasn't a friend. He had no shirt on. It looked to be like a pair of sweats. And then from his feet to about his waist was wrapped in saran wrap.
Girl, the roommate found him or what? I am confused. Let me look it up. I want to keep checking into the David, story. I don't know. I think the next big thing is going to be what's the identity of that person, that body found, Let's see. This is an article. See if we can get caught up with this. OnlyFans, this one's from earlier this year. This was in May. OF model accused of murmur continues to push to take Miami-Dade prosecutors off the case. Attorney for Courtney Clenny made arguments as to why the Miami-Dade state... Hold on, let me turn on reader view. Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office should be disqualified from the case, claiming prosecutors accessed privileged communications. A Miami social media model charged in the fatal stabbing. Oh, this isn't even her, girl. This is stabbing. Nope. See, I told y'all there's like several cases of this. This one was asphyxiating. Preliminary hearing. Court TV. Is this a video? I want the article. Wait a second. Oh my God. Wait, is this more of that kick type stuff? Like, is this more of that French streamer torture trash? OnlyFans model charged with murmur allegedly filmed content as $11,000 client had bag, tape, and saran wrap around his head. She filmed the content out of him. Oh, this makes me sick. But I mean, the same amount as sick as like Bonnie Blue, Lily, it all makes me sick. Mother of 3 remains behind bars in San Diego following her arrest in February. The OF model facing murmur charges after a client died during a session. April 2023, police responding to a 911 call found Michaela performing CPR on an unresponsive male, later identified as Michael Dale. According to court documents obtained by the San Diego Union Tribune, Dale was taken to a local hospital where he was declared brain dead, and a few days later, he was taken off life support. 2 years after his death, police arrested the girl, and charged her with murder. On the night that Dale died, he reportedly paid the OF model $11,000 to engage in fetish play and asked her to wrap him up in saran wrap like a mummy, glue a pair of women's boots onto his feet, and pour adhesive into his eyes and seal them shut. This sounds like that French streamer torture. Things allegedly went a bit further than that, though. He had duct tape over his mouth, plastic bag over his head, more saran wrap around that, then duct tape wrapped around his face and head, securing all the layers to his head. Oh my God. And this was allegations. I don't know, girl. I wasn't there and I'm not looking up the video. He also appeared to have had saran wrap wrapped around his neck. The medical examiner ultimately determined that the bag had been wrapped around his head for at least 8 minutes and ruled the cause of death to be asphyxiation and the manner to be homicide. The defendant provided police with her phone when they arrived on the scene, and the Times reports that the affidavit states there was no evidence that Dale ever requested her to place a bag over his head and secure it, which eventually caused him to suffocate and die. A video on the phone also allegedly showed this lady using something that vibrates to make content for her OnlyFans. Oh my God. While he laid there with the plastic sealed around his head, he laid there and died. And she had the thing going for the OF content. The police arrested her February this year. She's being held without bail. Oh, this makes me sick. Her lawyer did not respond for a request for comment. Now, look, listen, I don't know if she did that or not. Innocent until proven guilty, but that sounds sick. That sounds sick. And y'all, look, I mean, if you look on Google, there's so many cases of this. This one on trial for her boyfriend's thing. This other one, this one is asphyxiation. That's the same one we just read. This one is a different one. Michaela, oh no, that's her. Okay, Michaela, that's her. Barry Morphew. No, that's a different one. There's different ones. The one that did something to her boyfriend. This is different. These are different. Like, there's a lot of cases like this, y'all. What the hell? This is nasty. And, it's when you play around with stuff like that, even as a fetish or whatever, like, yeah, that's whenever you choke somebody, asphyxiate somebody, they could die. Like, people should probably be aware of that. If it's on video, can't they tell it was, I don't, girl, you're going to have to ask them. I don't have any further details on it. And then there's a little bit of an update on the Emanuel Harrow case I wanted to run by y'all too.
His own 7-month-old son, Emanuel Harrow. Just 2 years ago in 2023, before Emanuel was even born, Jake pleaded guilty to abusing another one of his kids, his 10-week-old daughter. 10 weeks! That crime actually happened 5 years ago, in 2018, or 5 years before, in 2018. The newborn baby's skull was fractured.
So if you look at the title, it says Jake Harrow was separated from parents as a child over substance, violence issues. So that's kind of what I wanted. We don't need to listen to the baby injuries again. I think we all knew that.
Again, when he posted bail. So again, Jake Harrow walked the streets among us. His case dragged on until this little baby Emanuel, was conceived and then born and then disappeared, allegedly at the hands of his own parents, Jake and Rebecca, who begged all of us to help find the kidnapper who knocked out Rebecca and stole their baby. My next guest did some digging and has a whole lot more on the files to share about this. Alexandra Kazarian is a criminal defense attorney who spent almost a decade as a public defender in Los Angeles. Alexandra, thank you so much. We actually learned that Jake Harrow himself was removed from his parents, much like his own children were removed from his custody.
Yeah, it's very sad. It sounds like this is a long time cycle of abuse that's happening in this family. There are allegations that his grandfather was mentally ill and that his mother had addiction problems, and she left him at home, not only with his grandfather who wasn't fit to watch over him, but there were also domestic violence issues between his mother and his father. So by the time he was 13, he was taken away from his own home. So it sounds like it's a long time that he's been in tumultuous relationships.
So 13 years old, he's removed from his own parents alongside his own sister and brother. And is it true that they are removed from the home and into the custody of that grandfather who apparently had severe mental health issues?
They were placed into an adoptive family, but one of the reasons that they were removed was because the mother left him with the grandfather who was unfit. So ultimately, I don't think that he was placed finally with the grandfather as the caretaker.
So does it come as a surprise to anyone to learn that Jake Harrow had a less than normal upbringing and a less than normal family? No, doesn't surprise me, not one bit. However, a lot of people don't have a normal family, girl. A lot of people have a very, very serious upbringing that's a traumatic and abusive and all of that. And then they don't end up doing, what Jake Harrow is accused of. Now, again, it is just an accusation. I wasn't there. I don't know. Of course, it is no excuse, as James says. It's no excuse at all. Agreed completely and entirely. If it were, then there would be no hope for the world. But generally, abuse is a cycle. It's not an excuse. It's a phenomenon. Does it mean that, Jake Harrow didn't have a choice and an option over his actions? Of course not. Of course not. Again, all of us would be doing re-perpetuating stuff on people if you just did that all the time. So it's not an excuse, but a lot of times behaviors are learned. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes people are just creative sociopaths. Okay.
All right. So then you also discovered that Jake had a couple of other kids who were removed from the home long before baby Emanuel was even, a glimmer in anyone's eye at this point. This is after being arrested for abusing that little 10-week-old newborn girl who ended up with the permanent disabilities. The police show up and there's other kids in the home.
Right. There was a lot of DCFS investigation. Well, we call it DPSS or DCFS, but Department of Family Services, whatever it's called. There were a lot of court cases. There were a lot of findings where he was unfit to be around his own children previously. There was a lot of investigation that happened. A lot of court dates.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right.
It never stopped scaring me. The Chris Cuomo jump scare. Yeah, so that's kind of like the latest with the Emanuel Harrow thing. Come on, like, what's the freaking holdup? The last we heard from them, they were tisking us. I'm gonna look it up. see if there's anything else new going on with that case just while we're here. Oh, man. It's almost been a month. It's almost been a month. Nope. Nothing new here. I mean, one thing new is they pled not guilty. New for me. I didn't really report on that. Thank you so much, Tina. Thank you, Tina Bailey, for the $3 super sticker. Let me look another time for the... No, everything is still, it's just an ongoing investigation. Singer D4vd's Tesla found in Hollywood tow yard with decomposing body inside. Again, y'all, he's on tour. Okay, so let's not jump the gun, you know, no pun intended or whatever, about keyboard words, exactly. Let's not jump the gun, and all of that. Now, I might come back on live later and make a video, or maybe I'll just make a video later, but today there's an important court date. If you are following the Tupac murmur investigation, you know, they do have a suspect in custody and they have charged him, Dwayne Keith Davis, aka Keefy D. He had previously entered some type of plea, proffer, some type of like agreement with the police that he couldn't be prosecuted because for this, right? But then after he made that agreement, maybe it was years later, he started to make public appearances. He wrote a book based on his life. He might have even appeared in like some shows, some like hip hop type things, some like shows like that, and a book based on his life, autobiography, whatever. He starts going on DJ Vlad and the Blue Couch and all of that. All right. So he starts kind of implicating himself in the murmur of Tupac. And sure enough, they do arrest him over there in Las Vegas. He wrote a book. Yeah. He made all kind of statements. And now his defense is basically like, I was lying. But that's going to be a very difficult defense, because if your defense is I was lying, then you necessarily telling the jury they can't believe nothing you say because you lie. So it's a tough defense. Heidi, I'm like an anti-conspiracy theorist on this one. Like, I kind of think that people are trying to set Garth Brooks up to make it look like he's doing stuff because he actually doesn't want to play ball with Hollywood. That's what I think. For example, like, you can't find any of Garth Brooks's songs on iTunes. And I found that to be very interesting. Like, why aren't his songs on iTunes? Either because he don't want them on there, he won't consent, maybe the royalties, maybe this, that. Why wouldn't he be making money on his songs? Like, that's the first clue. And then it's like they seem to like be trying to drag him down in other ways. Now, I'm not like a Garth Brooks stan like that. Like, I could really care less. Like, y'all know I'll equal opportunity over here. But like, something just isn't sitting right with me about the whole, like, I don't know. I need to see more evidence. I did see Sloan put a video out. I have not watched Sloan's video. So maybe he found something in there that would be more convincing to me. But so far, I'm just kind of like, eh. Shout out to Kel on Earth, member for 4 months. Hey, cousins, I lived, recovering from, oh no, another surgery. No, get a lot of rest. Thanks so much, Ella, for the $5 super chat. Will you cover Priscilla Presley lawsuit where they talk about her unaliving her daughter and Elvis? Girl, I kind of already made a video like about it a little bit before any of this. I made a video about Michael Jackson on this channel that you're on right now, That Surprise Witness. And in it, I talk about Priscilla Presley and I talk about Scientology. And there was this article I found from the newspaper archives from years like 1995 about their wedding. Or was the other one, it was, or Anna, whatever, the Presley he was married to, not Priscilla, the daughter, whatever. But like Priscilla came up. So I would be open to covering it. I hadn't planned on it, but I'll take a look at that lawsuit. I will take a look at the lawsuit and what's going on with it. And I might cover it. We'll see. Thank you so much for the $5 and for reminding me about that. If Tina said, if Trisha is standing by him, I'm going with the Hollywood angle. Is Trisha standing by him? Girl, I mean, I don't know. He might be a horrible monster, truly. And if he is, I hope that he gets found out. You know, I'm never going to be like, even if I actually do like someone a whole lot, which I don't have that strong of feelings on Garth Brooks. Now, I do have a very strong emotional attachment to that one song, Call Baton Rouge, that they play in Death Valley, Chance of Rain. Never. But I mean, I have no problem appreciating a song and saying the person that sings it should be in jail. So that's never an issue I have. Oh, Trisha Yearwood. Right. That's his wife, right? And they've been married for a long, long time. I don't know. I haven't really researched it. I'll look more into it before making my mind up for sure. But probably, I wasn't like dying to cover it or anything. All right, y'all. I'm going to go look into some more stuff. Keefy D had his status update hearing today. I'm going to go see if I can find any information on that. And then maybe I'll be back later. I do still need to finish up the Milagro depositions too. So I'm going to be doing that too. Probably definitely this week. So maybe today, maybe another day. But I do want to finish up that Milagro deposition because it was really good. And I want to get back, into that story. But hopefully we get an answer. We get a decision down back from the appeals court on the Tory Lanez case soon, one way or the other. And that's all I really had for this one right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. And I'm going to hold out making my mind up on all this until we get a little more evidence. Love you, Mina K. Bye.